Good evening, one and all. This is the RIALTO Unified School District regular meeting of the Board of Education for August 11th, 2021. Okay, opening call to order, and I get to use it. Okay, comments on closed session agenda items. Any person wishing to speak on any item on the closed session agenda will be granted 3 minutes. Dr. Avila?
We have none.
Closed session. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. As provided by law, the following are the items for discussion and consideration at the closed session of the Board of Education meeting. And vote by board members. Let me read it first. Public employee, employment discipline, dismissal, release, reassignment of employees per Government Code 54957. Student expulsions, reinstatements, expulsion enrollments. Conference with labor negotiators, agency designated representatives, Guatemala Avila, Superintendent, Rhea McIver Gibbs, lead personnel agent, personnel services, and Rhonda Kramer, lead personnel agent, personnel services, Employee organizations, California School Employees Association, Chapter 203, CSEA, RIALTO Education Association, REA, and Communication Workers of America, CWA. Conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, paragraph 1 of subdivision D of section 54956.9, 2182322 versus RIALTO Unified School District, San Bernardino Superior Court case, CIVDS 1824568. And conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to paragraph 2, subdivision D of section 54956.9, one potential case. Okay, board, let's go ahead and, unless you have something, let's vote to move into closed session. Okay. Ms. Walker will join us about 7 p.m. So, Ms. O'Kelly, how do you vote to go into closed session?
Aye.
Clerk Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you. Vice President Montez?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Time is 6:02. Okay, good evening, and once again, we are out of closed session, but we do have to return for two more items, legal items. I believe it's A 3.5 and possibly A 3.4. So let's go ahead and adjourn closed session for now, but we will have to return before adjournment tonight. Motion and second, please, Board.
So move.
Second?
Thank you. Vote by board members. Ms. O'Kelly.
Aye.
Thank you. Clerk Lewis.
Aye.
Thank you. Vice President Montez.
Aye.
And myself, aye at 7:09. Okay, open session reconvened at 7:09. And tonight we have Mr. Richard Acosta. Sorry to spring it on you, but would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? And you will find out how important this man is to Myler and Rialto shortly.
Okay, your hand over your heart. Right hand over your heart. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Acosta. Okay, Dr. Avila, report out of closed session, please.
Yes, thank you, President Martinez. The Board of Education accepted the request for an unpaid leave of absence for classified employee number 2311311 from August 6, 2021 through January 10th, 2022. The roll call vote of those present was unanimous. The Board of Education denied the request for an unpaid leave of absence for classified employee number 2510231 from August 6, 2021 through October 8, 2021. The roll call vote was unanimous. The Board of Education denied the request for an unpaid leave of absence for classified employee number 2366911, August 10, 2021 through December 17, 2021. The roll call vote was unanimous. The Board of Education accepted the administrative appointment of Denitra L. Smith Wheeler, emotional health therapist. The roll call vote was unanimous. And the Board of Education accepted the administrative appointment of Dr. Serena Straka, Cusera Middle School principal. The roll call vote was unanimous.
Thank you, Dr. Avila. Okay, we have adoption of the agenda. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. Ms. Walker, how do you vote on adopting the agenda?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. O'Kelly.
Aye.
Clerk Lewis?
I have two items for discussion.
Okay, okay. When we get there, just, which are they, and we'll slow down and explain that part as we move through it. Which are they?
E 3.8 and E 3.10.
Okay, when I ask for whether there's any discussion or polls in the next section, then's the time. Okay,
Aye.
thank you. Vice President Montez?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Okay, tonight we do have a presentation, California School Employees Association 2020 Member of the Year, Mr. Richard Acosta from Myler Zupanik High, School Custodian 2. Welcome.
Now, Mr. Acosta, we'll have you stand here. With your mouth closed.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Okay. Thank you, Board President Mr. Martinez, for allowing me this honor to present this recognition. On behalf of the board, Mr. Richard Acosta, Custodian 2 at Myler Supanic High School, earned the California School Employees Association CSEA Member of the Year Award. And tonight, we are excited to honor Mr. Acosta for the state recognition. Our 54-year-old employee who has been working in the district for 18 years was honored during CSEA's annual state conference. The conference was held virtually on July 27, 2021. According to Mr. Chris Cordasco, CSEA Rialto Chapter 203 President, there are over 900 classified union chapters in the state of California, with over 240,000 employees. Mr. Acosta was one of only 5 selected for this honor, and that speaks volumes. Our union brothers and sisters are incredibly proud of Mr. Acosta's work. We are honored to have him recognized for his efforts to go outside the scope of his responsibilities to volunteer and assist our students. He is a humble and commendable person who deserved to be highlighted. Thank you for those words, President Cardasco. Mr. Acosta was born in El Paso, Texas. Acosta's family moved to the Pomona area and then later the Inland Empire. He graduated from Fontana Unified School District, but moved to the city of Rialto 30 years ago, married to his wife, Christina Acosta, of 37 years. She is here tonight. Let's give her a round of applause. The couple has 3 grown children, Diana, Rihanna, is that right? And Richard. 2 of his children also work in our USD. Mr. Acosta was nominated by Myler Supanic Principal, Dr. Kayla Griffin. Dr. Griffin is here as well. Let's give her a round of applause. She stated, quote, Mr. Acosta has gone above the assigned duties of our school custodian. He serves as a mentor for students as well. Mr. Acosta is actively involved and committed to not only campus cleanliness, but also being an asset to upholding a positive campus climate as well. Mr. Acosta believes that our students deserve the absolute best environment to keep them focused on learning. In 2003, Acosta was hired by the Rialto Unified School District as a custodian at Myers Elementary School. He has also served as Carter and at Rialto High Schools before being promoted as a custodian 2 and then transferring to Myler High School. Quote, the best part of being a classified employee is being behind the scenes and getting the school ready along with all of the classified staff to keep the school running. End quote, Acosta replied at the virtual meeting. I like being engaged with our students, said Mr. Acosta. Acosta, whose hobbies are boxing and football, also runs a boxing gym. The veteran custodian has also assisted the district's positive behavioral supports and intervention team, PBIS, to provide students social emotional support. He also participated in restorative circles at the school alongside counselors. Mr. Acosta, on behalf of the Rialto Unified School District, we thank you for your unyielding service to students and staff of our district. Quote, I'm appreciative for the recognition. Acosta concluded, it took me by surprise, but I am the same person doing what I can for kids. I guess that's my calling, end quote. And now I'd like to call Mr. Acosta to the microphone if he'd like to share a few words with us.
Okay. Thank you for this award. I appreciate it. If you catch me on campus, I'll talk a lot. Today, I didn't want to come up here and just say thank you and leave, but I am honored to take this award, not only for me, but for the rest of the classified support staff for the Rialto Unified School District. You know, we all do what we need to do and put in a little extra all the time. So for those who have put in the extra work, you know, thank you. It's not just me. We have over 1,000 members here in Rialto in our union, and all of them, same thing. They all put in whatever they can and go above and beyond. So this award isn't just for me, it's for Rialto Unified School District. And, you know, I have a couple people that I'd like to mention, just their names, if that's okay. Luis Alducin, Kenny Duran, Chris Suba, and my daughter Rihanna Acosta, and my other daughter Diana Acosta. Thank you for the award. I appreciate it. I'm not really good at things like this, but if anything, if we could give all classified just, you know, a round of applause. That's about it, all I have to say. So, thank you.
Mr. Acosta, if we can have you up here, in the middle, and then a little space between you and Dr. Avila and, your presenter, Mr. Vice President Montes. Yes, you got it. Let's have you up here.
If that's a hat.
Yeah, you got the hat. And then I'd like, yeah, and then if you can just back up a little bit. I would like the board in, but the board can also space themselves, please. This is a state award, so it's a big deal. This is for our official media, social media post, and it is a state award. And I would like, Mrs. Acosta, you could stand next to him. You don't need any social distance.
Do that at home too, right?
Kids are watching Mr. Acosta. And of course, Mr. Cardasco, come on in. Coming next to Mrs. O'Kelly. Okay? Thank you so much for your patience. I appreciate it. Just want to make sure that we.
And can we get one with the people here for him tonight and his principal?
Yes, I'm sorry. Let's get, yes.
Dr. Britt? Come on up. Who else is here for him?
And that's it. As long as, we have been told by our risk director that as long as you're wearing a mask, you can get a little bit closer. 3 feet is okay. 3 feet is okay. There you go. And if you aren't, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry. Sorry, I know it gets a little.
Go ahead and shoot it. I don't wanna waste it.
No, it's okay. You don't, you're
You
good.
don't wanna mess up her lipstick.
No, I got.
Miss, yeah. Miss Walker, you don't have to.
Huh?
You're far enough, you don't have to. There you go.
I
Okay,
can
let's
be
look
back
over
here.
here. Everybody smile.
I'm ready to go for smile.
It's your eyes, it's your eyes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Present.
2 reasons I can't wear this mask while I'm leading the meeting. I fog up my glasses and I can't read. That's the primary reason.
Look at his glove, look at his glove.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you for your service to us, to Rialto and my kids.
That's right.
Okay, B2, strategics. We have a presentation on that. Dr. Avila?
Yes, we do. Dr. McDuffie will now present Strategics 2021-2022, along with Elizabeth Curtis, our lead academic agent.
Thank you. you. Good evening, President Martinez and board members and Rialto community. It is great to be here this evening. Today we want to present to you Strategics 2021-2022. At the previous board meeting, I told you that we would be bringing forth to you a review of the strategic plan process and our strategic thinking as a district. So we will then will take you through the next steps towards strategic emergence. Now here you see two documents, one being the program cover of our strategic celebration in 2019, and then we have our reopening plan that is currently on our district website. These two documents represent two different worlds. One represents the pre-pandemic age when we had pre-pandemic age and strategics, and the other represents the pivot and adjustments that we had to make as a result of the pandemic. So how do we emerge from our past and current reality? We will discuss this within this presentation. I just want to remind you and our community of our strategic celebration in 2019. Next month will mark 2 years since we gathered maskless at Sunrise Community Church, which was in September of 2019. Now this event was where our community, parents, students, and school staff came together to highlight the awesome accomplishments based in our district strategic plan. All our schools were represented, and our Carter High School theater students wrote, directed, and acted in a play entitled Bridge to Equity. Now, after the celebration in 2017, after the celebration, we went to work examining our strategies and actions for our strategic plan. We were in our third and final year of our strategic plan, so we had to get to work, and in October of 2019, we assembled a strategic planning team. As Dr. Avila, Ms. Curtis, Dr. Gibbs, and I led the planning team on your left through the process of creating a new plan. We narrowed down our strategies from 8 to 6 strategies. And on your right, you'll see the planning team had finalized the strategies. It was time for the action plan teams, or the action planning teams, to begin writing actions to bring those new strategies to life. Once again, the teams were made up of the stakeholders of Rialto Unified School District, parents, students, and staff. We completed this process, and the action plans would be reviewed again by our planning team to make recommendations. In March of 2020, we plan to bring our new strategies and actions to be presented to the Board of Education, and then this happened. A shutdown occurred, and the school district, under the leadership of Dr. Alva, had to adjust to our current condition. And these conditions are still lingering with us even today. So I'm going to have Mrs. Curtis come and take you through the next section.
Well, as you know, we had to mobilize over spring break of 2020 to determine what we were going to do next. And we had to do it quickly. And it was clear that strategic planning had to be put on hold, and that our strategic thinking was going to be put to the test. So we go from that document on the left to the current reopening plan on your right. But to get us there, we didn't abandon the elements of our strategic plan. The keys of our plan were our mission, our parameters, and our beliefs. And these are the strengths that led us through and continues to lead us through these difficult times. And as you know, our Rialto Bridge is a symbol of our strategic plan. Let's take a look at our bridge. We have a foundation, which represents our beliefs. The railings represent the parameters. These statements, these parameter statements, keep us working together and on the same page when making decisions. And then we have our mission, which is the keystone, or the very top of the bridge. It is the keystone, which is the main stone that holds all the other parts of the bridge together. It's crucial. So let's take a closer look and give you a few examples of how these elements held us all together during distance learning. Let's start with the foundation, which are our beliefs. We have 13 beliefs, which is what we are all about as a Rialto community. And during distance learning, we utilized our unique talents. We took risks, which we believe were essential to our success. Perhaps the most important belief that really shined during this time was a strong community benefits all of its members. As you see here, our frontline workers were out there getting the job done, and we understood the importance of our nutrition and services workers, our IT providing devices and hotspots to our families, education services creating instructional materials and training our teachers on digital resources for distance learning. And of course, safety and intervention officers providing their service in so many ways, from assisting with traffic, doing welfare checks, or delivering technology to those that needed it. Our parameters are the guidelines of how we work together and how we make decisions. The parameter that was probably most critical during distance learning is we will make all decisions in the best interest of students. The district was receiving pressure to open up our schools, but with the assistance of information that we gathered from our county health department, consistent parent surveys, and the weighing of safety measures, we remain closed to bringing our students back to school. We actually turned down federal dollars in the millions because our decisions were guided by what is in the best interest of students. Finally, the keystone, which is our mission. Essentially, our mission is to ensure that each of our students achieve personal and career fulfillment. And there are 5 critical means by which we accomplish this mission, and those are the bullets at the bottom that you see here. One critical means that really stood out was safe and engaging learning environments. And when we were finally able to open our doors this summer, our classes were filled with exciting opportunities for learning provided in a safe environment. And as we embark upon our first week back to school, we know that we return as a different organization because of what we've been through and because of what we've learned.
So during this time, we've really strengthened our ideas and strategic thinking. And with a new energy, eager to finalize our strategic plan that we started. So, next steps, we will be convening the original planning team at the end of this month to complete our 3-year strategic plan. However, over the last year and a half, as we previously stated, we've had to adjust operations based upon the conditions of the pandemic and all the consequences of the event. Now, as we return this year, we're not the same district nor individuals that we were pre-pandemic. Therefore, we'll come together to review the strategic plan with the planning team with a new lens. Dr. William Cook will be taking us through strategic emergence, examining the draft plan that we already have, and additional stakeholder input that we have and are collecting with our families, and our collective input reflecting on the pandemic. And once we've gone through this process, we will finalize the new strategic plan and have it adopted by the Board of Education for the next 3-year cycle. So in the next few months, we'll be back to present our new plan. And that's our presentation. Thank you, and are there any questions?
Thank you very much. Looks like no questions from the board. Okay, we continue with comments. Public comments not on the agenda. At this time, any person wishing to speak on any item not on the agenda will be granted 3 minutes. Dr. Avila?
Yes, we have several. First, we have Mr. Tobin Brinker.
Welcome.
Good evening. Tobin Brinker, a teacher at Frisbee Middle School, here speaking on my own behalf. I've got so many things I want to say. First off, thank you for reopening our schools. We are off to a great start at Frisbee. We had our 3rd day of school today. I'm exhausted, but it's the good kind of exhaustion. The energy and the excitement that is on our campuses cannot be denied. The kids are happy to be back, and I hope that we do everything in our powers to keep them on our campuses, but to do it safely. To that, I'd like to say thank you again for, I heard today that the elementary schools have made a decision about back to school night and that they're going to do it virtually. They feel that that's safer. My secondary colleagues, several of them posted to me tonight and said, hey, ask them if they'll do it for secondary too. And so the sooner you can give us that answer, the happier people are going to be, because we want to know, and we want to know we're doing the right thing and we're doing it to be safe for our employees, but also for the kids and the families that are in our community. Finally, besides being a teacher in this district, I also am a board member for a local nonprofit, the Inland Empire Children's Book Project. We've been working here in the Rialto district for about 5 years. We've given away over 10,000 books to students in Rialto. And sadly, when COVID hit, our main location is on a campus in the San Bernardino School District, and they closed their campuses. And so for that year and a half, we were basically unable to do anything. Well, the schools have reopened, and we're off with a bang. We had a new teacher event on July 29th and July 30th. We had over 25 Rialto new teachers, brand new teachers that showed up. Every teacher walked out with several $100s worth of free stuff. And traditionally, our model is that we give teachers books that they then give to their students, and they got those. But we also, for these new teachers, we gave them posters to decorate their rooms. We gave them games that they could have in their classroom. We gave them all kinds of little toys and knickknacks that they could put into a little treasure chest to give their students. There was so many wonderful things. And here's the part I think you're going to love. So much of what we gave away was donated by retired Rialto teachers. I will tell you that in that year that we were off, I was getting calls all the time from people that were retiring. Hey, I've got this stuff, can you come get it? And because we couldn't deliver it to our site in San Bernardino, it was in my garage, it was in my living room, my house was filled with stuff. And the good news is, we gave it all away and I have my house back. And so I just wanted to have that little positive message with you today. There's a lot of other things I'd love to come back and talk to you about, and one that's close to my heart that we see in the media is critical race theory. As you know, I teach history, and I would love to talk to you and our community about what we really do to teach history in this district. We do a fantastic job, and there's so much misinformation out there. We teach kids how to think, we teach them how to work with documents, and we teach them how to support with evidence. And I would love to come back and talk on that in more detail at some other time, because I know that's an issue out in our community, and I think it's important that we get in front of it and let people know that we're doing the right thing with our kids here in Rialto. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Brinker.
Next, we have Ms. Lubia Nava.
Dr. Chavez?
Okay.
Thank you.
Buenas noches, miembros de la mesa directiva, doctor Ávila y audiencia.
Good night, members of the Board of Directors, Dr. Avila. Hello, as the members of the Board of Directors, Dr. Avila, and audience.
Mi nombre es Lubia Nava y soy la presidenta de Alianza Latina y el motivo de mi presencia esta noche es para invitarlos a todos ustedes a nuestra primera junta inaugural, la cual se llevará a cabo el día 19 de este mes, de 6:30 a 7:30 en el Centro Chávez Huerta. Nos gustaría mucho contar con su presencia.
So my name is Luvia Nava. I'm president of Alianza Latina, and the reason for my visit tonight is that I would like to invite you all to our opening night, which will be held on August 19th from 6:30 to 7:30 at the Chavez Huerta Center.
Muchas gracias por su atención y los esperamos. También traje unos flyers, no sé si quisieran que se los diera a ustedes personalmente o los pondría acá atrás.
Se los puede dar a Zaira.
Okay.
Well,
Muchas
thank you.
gracias.
Well, thank you very much. She also brought some flyers, and she'll leave them out back here.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ms. Mirna Ruiz.
Welcome.
Okay, good evening, board members, Dr. Avila, cabinet, and viewing audience. First of all, I wanted to thank Nutrition Services for their wonderful job they're doing. I actually got a couple of calls, and my own two kids are at Carter High School. They said that the food is better than last year. I don't know what the difference was, but just so you know, and they wanted me to mention that. So good, thank you. The other thing I wanted to do is also, I wanted to thank Ms. Cuellar from Carter High School, Mr. Franco, the psychologist from Carter High School, Mr. David Farrow, the psychologist, and Mr. Camarena from Myers Elementary. I wanted to thank them for the amazing job they did in making sure that a couple of students in special education had everything they needed to make sure that the first day of school was a success. So I wanted to make sure that I thank them for that. So I also wanted to talk about again and kind of clarify from the last comments that I came last meeting, which was on July 14th. I wanted to talk about how I asked the board, to request an audit and make it in special education. And I also made a request for you to get the total amount of the out of compliance IEPs that we have. I also asked for the accountability, of those people that are making those IEPs out of compliance. When I asked for that, doesn't mean that special education department is at total blame or at fault for these IEPs being out of compliance. We need to get the accountability from the beginning of those people that are making sure that those IEPs, that are not complying to those IEPs. Because those people are not the ones that when people, or parents actually, I should say, like myself, decide to file for due process or mediation, those people are not there. The people responsible. So we want to make sure that, again, the accountability is there. The other thing I wanted to talk about is also thanking the teachers for taking the time out of their 48-hour day to assure that they learn about the disability of the students that they have in their classroom. I truly, truly appreciate that from the bottom of my heart, and I am forever grateful. To me, that shows so much, like I said, from their 48-hour day, taking the time to learn about that. But at the same time, I'm asking to help those teachers, give those teachers the support that they need in order to make sure that the kids have, a success in their classroom, being children that have special needs in a general ed classroom. We need to make sure that they have that support. And I'm not talking about just a little, slideshow or an hour training. That's not enough. They need a lot more. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all for items not on the agenda.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Avila. And now we go to public comments on the agenda items. Any person wishing to speak on any item on the agenda will be granted 3 minutes.
We have Ms. Jenny Appel.
Hello, Good evening, everyone. I actually just need clarification on page 49. If you guys can clarify to me what the parent organization umbrella is. I am Jeannie Appel. I'm the president of Rialto Council PTA. So we're under that umbrella. So I just need clarification that we are not put into this. That way I can take it back to my association.
Maybe Mr. Harris can clarify?
Yeah, the last section on the fiscal impact.
Regarding the transportation services.
Item E 3.26. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Derek Harris here. I'm acting lead business services agent. I'm sorry, may I clarify which item you're referring to?
Yes, so right here, where it says not to exceed school combined, and then in parentheses,
Sure.
this is ASB parent organizations.
Sure. So the question, thank you for your question, I appreciate that. So the question is concerning the district's request for the board's approval tonight for extracurricular and field trips, sporting events, when district buses or the district bus drivers are not available, that we have to reach out to contract services when we're not available. And then it also could also encompass CIF, should some of our sporting teams make it to CIF, or in cases where they have to drive over 100 miles or in certain other inclement weather conditions, although all of our buses have air conditioning, which I'm very proud of. So this is just referring to the many different types of sources of funding that may be requesting those services. So it's not to any specific organization, but it's just generically saying there's various types of sources that may be requesting that services. It may be a district cost, or it may be a student body, or it may be general fund, or it may be a parent organization. So it's just generically saying board's authorization that these services can be rendered. And
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Let's plan that for later on.
Okay, sure.
If the board has a question, that's one thing. We normally do not answer questions from the podium.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. If you'd set up a contact, Mr. Harris?
Sure.
Dr. Avila?
We have Ms. Mirna Ruiz.
It knows you.
Right? I'm doing good. I'm not
Welcome.
taking more than my time. Okay, so here I am again, Myrna Reese, and I wanted to talk about item on the agenda E.326, which has to do with the agreement on transportation. What I wanted to talk about and just kind of bring up to your attention is that we're literally talking about funds or asking funds from an ASB organization. How do they raise their funds? They fundraise. Who fundraises? The students, through parents, right? We have parent organizations. How do they fundraise? Through students, through parents, right? You know, so my concern with this is we need to stop asking for students and their money so they can travel and represent the district and represent their school. They should not be worried about asking for money or raising funds to represent the district. So I think we need to look at the budget or another way, or if we can revise this item the way it's written, because it's not fair for our students. And that's my concern. We need to think about that. They need to worry about, you know, success in their academics, not raising funds. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Arvin?
We'll follow up. Keep in mind that there's some non-curricular field trips activities that districts cannot sponsor, and therefore student organizations, parent organizations, other types of organizations may engage in fundraising in order to sponsor trips that districts are not allowed to pay for.
Thank you for the clarification.
Absolutely.
And it looks like it's self-explanatory in regards to the different organizations that may request these services, but if the organizations don't request them, they don't have to use the service.
Okay, let's see. And we continue on with C3, comments from association, executive board members. RIALTO Education Association. Welcome.
Hello. So, good evening to our distinguished school board, Superintendent Dr. Avila, and our awesome students and families. I'm Aisha Calloway, the new president for REA, the Rialto Education Association. It is more than a pleasure to be the official spokesperson for REA. I look forward to working with all of you this school year, and I'm a proud graduate of Rialto High School, so you guys already know I hold this district dear and very close to my heart. First and foremost, I want to thank the school board for being so supportive during the last year and a half during virtual learning. We appreciate you guys taking the time to hear us out and for keeping our staff and students safe. Dr. Avila, I want to thank you and your team for being positive, for listening, and being so supportive throughout this whole process while we were teaching and learning from home. I can literally say that I don't think they told us no to anything. We got kind of spoiled, so I don't know. So we just want to say thank you. We really appreciate the kindness and the compassion that was shown by you and your staff. So the fun part. This year is off to a pretty good start with all the restrictions and everyone returning to the school year. We are super excited to welcome over 160 new teachers and support staff to the RUSD family, and we will miss all of those who were lucky enough to be able to retire last year. I asked them to take me with them, but they told me I had to stay behind and serve my time, so I'm still here. I want to say thank you to all of the educators and the support staff that welcomed all of our wonderful scholars back. To the school sites, I've visited a couple of campuses and almost got misty-eyed just seeing the smiles on the students' faces, them interacting with their teachers, everyone on the campus, and of course, each other. I know they were really missing that social aspect. Let's see. I wanted to tell all the teachers that you guys are doing an awesome job. Please, please keep up the good work. I know everyone's tired getting back into the routine, but you guys are working hard and I really appreciate it. Also, I want to thank Nutritional Services for keeping our students fed and taken care of during all of this time. So big shout out to Nutritional Services. I also wanted to give a big thanks to our support team. Our custodians have been working hard to prepare the sites for the students and the teachers. They have been running rugged, doing everything, helping us get ready and get the classroom safe and prepared for everyone to come back. So I just want to wish everyone a happy and a wonderful school year. Once again, I look forward to working with you guys, and thank you for allowing us to come back.
Okay, California School Employees Association. Welcome.
Thank you, Saida, for cleaning the mic for everyone tonight. Good evening, Rialto Unified family. It's awesome to be able to stand here and say that to you in person. It's been a while since I've been able to stand here and see you guys face to face. So I want to even start off by saying thank you to the school board for coming back to your seats here and opening this room back up. It shows your dedication to our community. Tonight, I want to talk a little bit about an issue, however, that we've had. During the pandemic, the district has been awesome in so many ways, and we've heard a lot about it from our community and from staff about the different things that have gone on with regards to giving us everything we need to do our jobs, PPE, all the safety precautions that's going on at our school sites, the additional purchases of plexiglass and all of those things. But somehow in the chaos, sort of, if you will, we had some scheduling issues in regards to employee calendars. And this caused a lot of stress and grief on classified staff. We have many different positions in classified, and as such, there are many different calendars that have to be created, and I understand that. But our members rely on those calendars to know when they have to report back to work. And unfortunately, some of our members did not get their 10-day notice per contract. I did bring this situation to district staff, and they immediately took action and corrected it. And I appreciate that. But I owe it to the membership to be able to say tonight that we had a failure there. And I look forward to working with the district on making sure that doesn't happen again. On a positive note, I want to say thank you to Dr. Avila and his team and the board for recognizing Mr. Acosta tonight. Joe, as a former CSEA member yourself, you know that this award is a CSEA award given to a member, and it doesn't require the district's participation. So your participation tonight shows all CSEA members your dedication to us and your appreciation of us. And I want to say thank you for that. I also want to say congratulations to TRAP PTA. They won an award this week, and I think we were the only one in this area, I believe. So that's awesome. Everyone from classified staff to parents to teachers are doing their part to make Rialto a great place to be, live, and get educated. So thank you. That's all I have for tonight. That's okay. And I look forward to being able to come here again and stay in person. I know it's getting difficult out there with the Delta variant. We're still facing down some tough times ahead. But the classified staff are dedicated to being at work and serving their students. So thank you.
Okay, Communication Workers of America. Okay. If they happen to show up, we'll go ahead and put them in next. Rialto School Managers Association. Welcome.
Good evening, President Martinez and our wonderful school board, Dr. Avila, and our distinguished leaders here in our department, in our district, and all of our viewing audience. My name is Angela Brantley. I am the president of the Rialto School Managers Association. And I don't know about you, but I just feel a strong sense of gratitude in this room, and it's amazing feeling to be in such a large institution such as a school district and have this sense of gratitude amongst our peers. So that's just amazing. I too want to congratulate Richard Acosta. He's an awesome employee in the district. I'm very close to his family, worked with his wife, and his youngest son was one of my students at Myers several years ago, so congratulations to Richard. Well-deserved award for him. Just excited. Our school leaders are excited to be back serving our community, as many of us have shared this evening. And personally, I've had the opportunity to go out and support several of our schools in the last few days. What a pleasure to see the smiles through our kids' eyes, right? Because they're wearing their masks, but to see it in their eyes and their parents' eyes. And so I want to thank our leaders, our teachers, and all of our district staff, classified and certificated, and how hard they've worked for this transition back to in-person learning. I know there's been many words that have been used ad nauseum over the last 2 years, and one of those words is unprecedented, right? But I wanted to remind us that returning to school post-pandemic is also an unprecedented event. We've never done this before, right? And so I want to remind us to continue to extend grace to each other. As we come back to work hand in hand on behalf of our students, we ask that the grace is given to our parents and our students, as well as we ask that our community extends us continued grace as we get this right on behalf of our kids. So from our RSMA leaders, we're excited to be back to do this work with the kids, and I'm so grateful to be amongst my REA and CSEA colleagues in supporting the district. So everyone be kind to those around you, and I'm always going to say especially be kind to yourself. So thank you.
Thank you. And we do welcome CWA, Communication Workers of America.
And I was in the other room, so I wasn't going to get here that fast.
It's
But
okay.
Glad to be back to in-person school. Have a good evening.
Love it. Short and sweet. Okay. Comments from the superintendent.
Yes,
Dr.
thank you,
Avila.
President Martinez, and good evening once again, Rialto Unified School District students and staff. Tonight, I join the Board of Education in saying the 6 words that we have been waiting 18 very, very long months to say, welcome back to school in person. Thank you, RUSD families, for staying the course with us to make this transition back to in-person school a safe and positive experience. And what a way to start the year with a statewide Employee of the Year recognition. Congratulations, Mr. Richard Acosta from Myler Zupanek High Schools. We are very proud of you. We indeed have some of the best support staff members in the state, Mr. Acosta being one of them. And he is tremendous and has a heart for children. Thank you for exemplifying your kindness with our students. We are very much proud of you, and we truly appreciate the work that you do day in and day out. And in preparation for this school year, we had our annual management strategics in the last week of July. This year's guest speaker was none other than Mr. Danny Trejo, better known as Machete. Through personal stories, he advised us to just be good, be kind to each other, do good for others, and good will come to you in return. Watch the words that you say to kids. Use words that are encouraging, uplifting, and motivating. Words that discourage, harm, or destroy one's spirits can have a lifelong effect on many of them. And why would we want to intentionally do that? So just follow the golden rule: do unto others as you want others to do unto you. Thank you, Mr. Danny Trejo, for sharing your stories of wisdom with all of our managers here in the district. And a week and a half ago, as mentioned earlier, I had the pleasure of meeting with over 150 or 60 or so teachers new to our district. Not all of them are new teachers. Some of them have transferred from other districts, but they are new to the district, and we hosted them at the Rialto New Teacher Academy. It was certainly invigorating to see young and seasoned educators with so much passion and love for teaching. To each of them, welcome to the Rialto family. And of course, this week has been filled with joy. Seeing students, teachers, and support staff back on our campuses has been nothing short of eudaimonia, or the ultimate state of happiness. There was so much cautious excitement. It has been very good, but also kind of weird. But thank you, principals, administrative teams, teachers, support staff, for making this first day and week back to school a memorable and personable one for our students and their families. A special thank you to our team at Fiscal Services and staff from Superior Grocers, who put together a backpack drive at Boyd and Preston Elementary Schools, issuing to students 1,100 backpacks filled with school supplies. And as Angela said, you took my words, the smiles on their eyes were priceless. So thank you to both of you. And the district will continue to work out the few glitches we experienced these first few days to make sure that everyone has a major league experience in our schools and district every day. And we will do this only if we stay open for business, meaning that it will take each of us to do our part to stay safe so that we not have to close schools due to COVID. Please continue to use good judgment to protect yourselves against the risk of infection. And for this reason, the district has postponed all scheduled back-to-school events until further notice. This is both elementary and secondary. And speaking of protecting yourselves, I want to remind us that the California Department of Education commemorates the month of August as National Immunization Awareness Month. So with that, the district has collaborated with SAC Health Systems, SAC Health Systems, to hold a Tdap varicella vaccine tomorrow, Thursday, August 12th, at our district's health clinic located at 815 South Willow Avenue here in Rialto. The clinic will be held from 1 to 4 p.m. Thank you very much, Rialto family.
Thank you, Dr. Avila. We move to comments from members of the Board of Education. Ms. Walker.
Just like to say good evening to everyone and welcome back.
Wow. I like that. Okay, Ms. O'Kelly.
Yes, I'd like to welcome everybody back to school for the 2021-22 school year. I can't tell you how wonderful it was to drive past schools and see the parking lots full of cars. And you start seeing the kids on the campus and you're like, oh my gosh, I think we're getting back to where we belong. It was so uplifting, and everything's trying to return to normal. The COVID-19 experience was and still is worldwide and brought out strong emotions in children and adults. I wanted to share a poem a 17-year-old young lady wrote to show the emotional impact she felt about COVID-19. And it goes like this: 5 letters, 2 numbers, and 1 deadly microbe brought the whole world to a standstill and locked us in our home. I didn't know I'd miss school or the endless work, but this self-isolation really is cruel. They say history books will record this as the time everyone stayed home. As if we'll need something to help us remember this. I miss being with my best friend, and I miss her hugs. I hope stay at home doesn't extend. I dream of a day when masks aren't needed. A world without fear of infection. I wish this virus would soon be defeated. I thought that was very well done and says it all. I also wanted to share that I attended the Rialto Child Nutrition Department Professional Development Day a week or a little over a week ago with guest speaker who goes by the name of MGM. I guess those are her initials, but it sounds like the MGM Grand Hotel, so, you know, sounds good for her to use it. Wow, what an incredible day. MGM was outstanding. She captured everyone's attention and held it all morning. She didn't stop or slow down for a minute. And her message was beautiful and heartfelt for anyone who is in our business and loves kids. The nutrition services staff absolutely loved her, and it was an excellent, wonderful, worthwhile professional development day. I'm very glad I went. And that's all.
Thank you, Ms. O'Kelly. Okay, Clerk Lewis, into the microphone, please.
Good evening. And, you know, it was great watching everybody's Facebook and comments about back to school. But just to give you a little bit of something to think about, the virus is a living organism. And viruses want to survive. And they're going to survive in your body. So that old science, when you would turn off the light and put the flashlight on, you can see all the little particles. Well, a virus is so much smaller than that, but it needs a host. And so the American Academy of Pediatrics and American Academy of Pediatric Nurse Practitioner and Nurses recommended a layer approach, which the Rialto Unified School District has outlined in their fight to keep the school open. Key is getting your vaccination. 12 and above, that's the key. That's the only weapon we have right now. Next is the mask, because the virus is airborne droplets, so it's just coming out. And if you have a weekend, you're the host, and it can use your blood and your nutrition. It doesn't care who you are, okay? How old you are. It's came back stronger, and it's going to come back stronger if we don't stay on top of the curve. Next is ventilation. The school district has put air purifiers. When you just think of your own air filter, when you change it and it's all corrupt, all those particles, that's what you have to think. The virus is just all out here. And it's not only one virus. You have respiratory, syncytial viruses. You have a lot of viruses, you know, that's floating around. So you can become sick with a lot of other things. Hand washing. The virus drops. We put our hands down. It lives a little bit until that next person picks it up. So indirect. And so it's very exciting that we really recognize our custodians and the sanitation. That's one group that's never really appreciated. But boy, when they're not around, you know the difference. And then the social distancing, which we sort of spread out. Rialto schools have nice playgrounds and trees. And so we have a lot of things that are really important to stay on top of this. Now, parents, I know sometimes we know our kids are sick and we send them to school anyway, hoping that if they get a fever, you know, they'll call and you have to pick them up. This is not the year to do that, okay? And children, the symptoms are not like adults. A lot of times it is a headache, a stomach ache. It could be anything, fatigue. If they're sick and they're not feeling well, please keep them home. We have a system in place that our school administrators have set, that have the nurses and have the health services to identify, but you know if they're sick, please don't send them, because maybe your kid might be stronger, but the classmate or the teacher have a weekend. And it could just only take a minute to just wipe something and pick it up, touch their mouth, and the virus will invade their body. So we still have to work together to keep our schools open, right? And to stay open. So I was just so excited to drop my son off at college, but when they say, hey, he needs his COVID test, even though he has his vaccinations, he needs a negative before he moves into the dorm, I'm like, yes, because he needs to be there the whole year. And so, you know, sporting events, even though you have your vaccinations, for us, they've been working 12-hour shifts. We have over 250 kids who are positive. You know, we spared our kids because we shut down. Now that things are open, you're gonna see younger and younger. So let's stay on top of this battle to keep our kids safe, to keep our school open, and keep our employees and teachers all in a game plan. We can't let up.
Quick clarification question from myself. You said 250 children were COVID positive.
Yes, I've been seeing a lot.
Okay.
It's coming more than
In
last
or
year.
outside the district?
No, I can't put in or outside. You know, it's just sort of in my profession.
Okay, in the Inland Empire?
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
looking for that
Before we didn't see as
clarification.
many hospitalizations of children, younger children, but now they're coming in and they're testing and they're becoming sick. So it's here.
It is here. It's here to stay for a little while. Okay, Vice President Montes.
Thank you, Board President, Mr. Martinez, and I too want to welcome everybody back. Bittersweet. Welcome back to school. You know, with everything that's going on, it's really hard to say welcome back to school and everybody say yay. We're like welcome back to school and everybody's like yay. We're literally walking on eggshells. Everybody is very happy and excited about reopening the schools and sending the kids back to school. But at the same time, there are people who are literally terrified. Not just some students, but many parents, many staff members. There's people who don't want to come to work, who are scared. There's parents who don't want to send their kids to school who are scared. But for the most part, I think most people are happy and most people are willing to give it a try. I do want to say this, that our district is taking every measure to try to be as safe as possible. They've got plexiglass in the classrooms. They've got hand sanitizer all over the place. They're checking their temperature. Most parents are wearing masks when they drop off and pick up their children. And we appreciate that. I'd like to piggyback on what Clerk Lewis said about asking parents not to send their kids to school if they feel like they're sick. If they've got a headache, don't send them to school. If they got a stomach ache, don't send them to school. If they just don't feel well, don't send them to school. And same goes for the adults. If you're dropping off your kid at school and you don't feel good, maybe you shouldn't drop them off. Maybe somebody else should drop them off or pick them up. Staff members, if you're not feeling well, stay home. It's not worth the risk. We're literally walking on eggshells, and we need to keep a close eye, and we will keep a close eye on what's happening in and around our community, what's happening in other counties, and what the CDC is recommending as it changes often. But I will tell you this, that if we suffer, God forbid, we suffer any unfortunate outbreaks, we will do what we have to do to protect the health and safety of the students and the adults. And if that means closing up the schools again, then so be it. I'd rather close up the schools again, than to risk having anybody suffer, mortal. I don't even want to say it. I just don't want anyone to pass away because we didn't take the precautions, or we were stubborn, or we got politics in the way. And I truly don't believe that this board or this district has to worry about the politics involved regarding vaccinations and conspiracy theories. We just want to keep our children and our community safe and our staff safe. So just know that we will tread lightly, and we'll continue to monitor what's going on in surrounding districts, in our district, in our classrooms. And if we have to do what we have to do, then we're going to do it. And with that, I just ask that we continue to be as safe as possible, and practice safe practices as much as possible. And again, I am very happy for us to be back, but at the same time, I'm also a little worried, and just know that we'll be watching everything very closely. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Montez. You know, we hear a lot of things through the news, through our community, through, right here tonight. And the one thing that remains constant is that RIALTO will move at the speed of safety. And, if we have to backtrack, another one got their wings. Okay. We will move the speed of safety. We have to remember that everyone has free will, whether you're going to be tested, whether you're going to get the jab. Free will, it's up to you. I can't speak for you. I can't speak for your family. I can only speak for myself. It's okay. I decided to get the shot. I'm glad I did. I was sleepy for like 2 days, and that was about it. No big deal. Would I do it again? I may have to. They're talking about a booster shot. Okay, well, it's there. It's not worth worrying yourself about someone else getting the shot or not. You have to protect yourself and your family, your classroom, your colleagues. But most of all, getting back to school, getting back to work, getting back to a semblance of normal, you have to give yourself grace, and you have to give everyone else grace. I'm requesting that. I'm recommending that. And will some people take advantage of it? Sure. Free will. But I have to give them grace. We all make mistakes. Grace. Lord knows I make a mistake all the time. Some days I think it's a mistake getting up. So anyway, we need to learn from whatever mistakes we do. We need to learn from other people's mistakes. We need to learn just so your bloodline may need that knowledge to continue. Who knows how bad this will get or how good it'll get? Who knows how long it'll take? But this isn't a permanent new normal, but it is a new normal. Nobody likes change. I'm at the beginning of that list, unless I invoke change. But that's for me. I do want to thank everyone in my RIALTO family for everything you've done, whether you were staying at home, keeping everyone else safe, whether you were putting up the plexiglass, whether you were taking care of the kids, making sure everyone was fed, whether you were keeping track of all the numbers and making sure that, okay, well, this morning you're supposed to wear a mask. Tomorrow morning you're not. By afternoon you have to wear a mask again. Everything changing literally overnight and sometimes within hours. As of this morning, last I heard, everyone has to get the jab or get tested. Now, define that. Testing is out. A couple of times a week is the last I've heard. So I've been tested once prior to all this by ear, nose, and throat specialist for allergies, and that wasn't comfortable. Luckily, it wasn't. It is, the test now is not that invasive. But a friend mentioned just today about the military. They don't have a choice. Just, yes, sir, you get what you're given. So, grace. Live by that one word, whether it's your dog, your cat, your family, your coworkers, your kids. Just love on each other while you still have a chance. I'm in my 6th decade, and I'm good. Whether I stay or whether I go, I'm good. I know where I'm going. Anyway, that's a conversation for another time. Okay, let's continue. Public hearing, we have none. Then E, consent calendar items, and this is where Clerk Lewis said that she had concerns over E 3.8 and E 310. So let's go ahead and start with the general thing we normally go through. And do we have any polls, questions, other than, okay, no one else? Okay, we'll go ahead and take everything and then consider E 3.8 and 310 after that. So a motion and a second.
Move to approve the consent calendar items except for E what?
3.8 and 310.
3.8 and 310.
So moved. Excuse me, second.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ms. Walker, how do you vote on that?
Aye.
Clerk O'Kelly?
Aye.
Clerk Lewis?
Aye.
Vice President Montez?
Aye.
And myself, aye. You have the floor, Clerk Lewis, on E 3.8.
Yes, I just,
Good evening, Board, Dr. Avila, and viewing audience. My name is Bridget Ely. I'm the lead special service
Welcome.
agent. Thank you.
Aye.
How you doing?
well, it's just, I've just been seeing a pattern, and I noticed that this is for agreement, again, just with one student. And it makes me think that these type of services, instead of us offering them to parents, seem like the parent are going through mediation or whatever to get these required services. How can we reset that pattern?
So this is an independent educational evaluation, and so by law, the parent has a right to request that. And so what, in this case, the student has a severe language impairment, so we agreed, because if we disagree as a district, we have only two options, either to grant the IEE or file a due process against the parents, which we don't want to do. It just erodes the relationship with the family.
I'm just trying to maybe restate. Some of these services, are these services, I'm sure there's more than one person in this district that could benefit.
So this isn't a service, this is an evaluation.
Right.
We have a student who has some serious language deficits that requires some outside consulting because of medical issues. And
But,
so,
yeah, but my question is, like, you only have one student that required this type of evaluation? How many students in your special ed program that goes through this evaluation? I'm thinking that, do we not have just a contract for this? And then when parents request it?
No,
Or
so the-
you, or your staffs would identify they need this type of evaluation?
So we conducted evaluation, but the parent felt like they wanted a different form of communication because there's other things going on with the student.
Okay.
And so to answer your question, for IEEs, the parent chooses the evaluator. That's what the law states.
Right, but you give a list of services and outside resources so the parent can make that decision.
So we do get a list to them of people who are approved to do these assessments because they have to meet a criteria. And so once the parent asks for it, then again, we only have two choices. And in this case, I think it's warranted.
Right, right, okay. So I just don't want the parent to be in the position that always have to identify the service that they need. I think they should go with a partnership, and I'm gonna approve it, but I was just wondering why all these are just one time, but the district is large and having a large population, if we can reset the way, you know, the parent interacts with the staff and consultations and things like that, or maybe we can sort of open up our vendor list. So I just want a clarification,
Yeah,
which you did.
so, yeah, okay, in the cases like this, they're different and extreme, so I think that it's kind of the best thing. And so we can't determine each student because each student is very different and their needs are extremely different.
Okay.
So it's not a service, it's an assessment to tell us how to best
Right.
get the kid to communicate. It's for augmentative and alternative communication. So it's about how do we make sure this student can communicate with their families or when they come to school because they have a severe language impairment. And it's severe, that's why the parent is asking for a little more detail.
Okay,
Okay?
all right.
Thank
Thank you very much. And while you're here, you had another one about the 504 plan for assessment with the,
I have another one, 504.
Yes.
I don't
That we're
oversee
gonna-
504, but maybe I can answer that question for you.
Okay, well, that's
What
okay.
number is that? And that would be handled separately if it is a
Okay.
different number.
well, then I'm just.
We can
going-
have her hold, we can have her hold tight. Don't go too far when we get to the other item.
Yeah.
Okay,
The next one was,
310?
But
Yes.
we have to move on one first,
Oh,
close
okay.
one first, and then.
Yes. Okay,
There was a motion to approve in a second?
we do not have a motion or a second
So
on
moved.
E38.
Second.
Okay, thank you. And let's go ahead and vote on that. Ms. Walker, how do you vote on E3.8? Okay,
Aye.
thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Out of order, that's fine, that's allowed. Remember Grace? Okay, and myself, aye. Okay, E3.8 is unanimously approved. And 3.10, Clerk Lewis, you have the floor.
Yes. Are they here for the career technical education? Okay,
Yes.
great. Hi.
Hi,
Good evening.
So since we're off to a new school year, do you have the numbers of how many students have enrolled in one of your programs? For the
So if
I can get you the exact numbers, but we did run numbers to ensure that all of the programs were within. So each course section can hold about 36 students. And as we went through the master schedule, all of them were within, you know, like 10 of their maximum enrollment.
Okay, because there was a marketing issue or a glitch with scheduling, that a lot of these programs were so underutilized. So if we're going to
Previously,
spend,
yes.
yeah, if we're going to spend this amount, I want to sell the front end. How did we market it? Make it easier for the parents, awareness for the school year. So.
Yeah, for sure. So let me just clarify one piece. So the first piece is the amount that you see listed here is not the amount that the district is investing in the CTE programs. It's a grant amount that's coming from the California Department of Education. So it's like a match amount. So we support, you know, the programs by offering the courses, and then the state sends us additional funding to be able to make sure that those courses are, you know, preparing students for workplace opportunities. We have seen in the past that there was an issue with marketing, and there was an issue with making sure that students understood and parents understood what options there were with career technical education, specifically as career technical education transitioned over from regional occupational programs. And so we have done a lot of work in the past 3 years to ensure that that marketing has been increased on the campuses, that those programs, that the sequence of the programs is more clearly identified. And so the mailers, we were working on the mailers and things like that, in addition to just working with counseling staff so they better understood the programs and how to explain them to students. We have become more visible at things like the college and career fairs. So the college fairs have kind of transitioned over into college and career fairs and things of that nature. So we did do, so I have been working on making sure, looking at everybody's master schedule and seeing how those scheduling pieces have lined up for this year. And we're actually doing really, really well. And if you'd like, I can get you the exact numbers for each pathway and have that available for you.
Yes, we would like to have it by, you know, next board meeting.
Yeah, I can put it in the
because,
weekly board updates.
If the facility is not being used or the service is not going to be used, you know, we really need to sort of see what.
So I have one example. So one example that I think is a timely example would be the Intro to Foods, as well as it transitions over in second semester to International Cuisine and Catering. Historically, that one has been a struggle to kind of fill. This year it was overfilled. We had a plethora of students, so we're leveling it out. At this point, we have 38 students enrolled in that program. At one point, it was at 78 students that had shown interest in that program, and so that's kind of the pattern of what we're seeing for all of our CTE courses. And it's allowed for us to open some additional career technical education opportunities at all 3 sites. So we're really excited about that as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Chan.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, we have already voted on everything but E 310. So can I have a motion and a second to vote?
So move.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Walker, how do you vote on E 310?
Aye.
And Ms. O'Kelly?
Aye.
Clerk Lewis?
Aye.
And Vice President Montez?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Unanimous. Thank you, Board. You had something else, but we've already voted on all of the...
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Okay, okay. All right, we continue. On page 12, discussion action items. F1, agreement with educational software for guiding instruction, ESGI. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Board, do you have any questions or comments? This is to approve an agreement with educational software for guiding instruction to provide educational software for housing of district reader screener assessments, for data collection and generating of reports for K through 5 students, effective August 15th through June 30th of 2022, at a cost not to exceed $84,475 and to be paid from the general fund. Board questions or comments? Ready to vote? Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Ms. O'Kane?
Aye.
Clerk Lewis?
Aye.
Vice President Montez?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Unanimous. Thank you, Board. F2, award bid number 2022-002 to Dalkey and Sons Construction for the gymnasium bleachers replacement at Eisenhower High School. And this, motion a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. This is to award bid number 2022-02 for the gymnasium bleachers replacement at Eisenhower High School to Dalkey and Sons Construction at a cost not to exceed $839,890 and to be paid from Fund 35, State School Facilities Fund. Questions or comments, Board?
Are those the original bleachers?
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Talk
And
about
that
getting
school-
our
that
money's
school
worth.
was- Eisenhower was built in 57.
Wow. And they're still standing. They're still holding strong, but
But
So we-
they wobble a lot.
Are we
they
going to
ain't let us
auction
down
parts
yet.
off?
They ain't let us down yet, but it's time to get some nice,
Yeah.
lightweight, sturdy airplane aluminum, high-tech stuff now.
Right.
Not sure there's anything light when you're talking about that many bleachers. Okay, Ms. Walker, question, comments, anyone? Ms. Walker, how do you vote?
Oh, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Clerk Lewis?
Aye.
Vice President Montez?
Aye.
And myself, aye.
Ms. O'Callaghan went out of turn. She was so excited.
I went right after Dina.
Don't wait for the slow president. Okay. Acceptance of grant share our Strengths National No Kid Hungry campaign. Motion and a second, please.
Move to accept.
Second.
Thank you both, yes. Accept the share our Strengths National No Kid Hungry campaign, the grant for the total of $70,100 with implementation starting August 2021 at no cost to the district. I like that cost. Questions, comments?
Nope.
Okay, Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Ms. O'Kelly?
Aye.
Clerk Lewis?
Aye.
Vice President Montes?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Thank you, Board. Acceptance of grant from United States Department of Agriculture. Motion and second.
Move to accept.
Second?
Thank you. And this is to accept the first allocation of the fresh fruit and vegetable grant from the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, in the amount of $97,784.96 for the following schools: Bemis, Boyd, Casey, Curtis, Dollahan, Dunn, Fitzgerald, Garcia, Henry, Eubanks, Kelly, Morgan, Morris, Myers, Preston, Simpson, and Werner Elementary at no cost to the district. Okay, and questions or comments, Board? Okay, vote, Ms. Walker.
Aye.
Aye.
Clerk Lewis?
Aye.
Vice President Montez?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Thank you, Board. Another unanimous vote. And 45-day budget revision. Motion a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and this is to approve the budget revisions noted below for changes in revenues in order to meet the 45-day revision requirements for fiscal year 2021-22 per Ed Code Section 42127H. Questions or comments? Okay, Ms. Walker, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. O'Kelly?
Aye.
Clerk Lewis?
Aye.
Vice President Montez?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Thank you for another unanimous, Board. Resolution number 212204, delegation of authority to request disbursements from California Employers Retiree Benefit Trust Fund, CREBT. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And this is to approve Resolution 212204, delegating disbursement authority to the lead business services agent and lead fiscal services agent to request disbursements from California Employers Retirement Benefit Trust Fund. Questions or comments? This seems to exclude Mr. Harris, a temporary agent.
Good evening, Board President Martinez,
Welcome. Good to see you.
and board members. Sorry, I'm trying to get situated. So this is a request for your authorization to authorize individuals to be able to draw down funds to cover the cost of retiree health care. The exclusion there is this is primarily, although benefits and retiree health care would be something in risk management, the decision to when to draw down funds if needed from the trust would be more of a fiscal services issue when pulling down funds from that trust may be needed in order to relieve the general fund in times when you may have to do that. So this is a trust to protect retiree health care.
Okay, what I'm specifically asking is, since you are the acting or temporary agent, whatever the current title is,
Yes.
if we needed it tomorrow, you could not request it.
I could because I'm acting in that lead position.
Okay, you are an acting,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
He has the authority.
Yes.
All
Give
right,
it by-
other questions or comments? Ms. Walker, how do you vote? Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
And myself, aye. F7, Resolution 212207, remuneration. I have to recuse myself from this one, but a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
If you recuse yourself, then that means I have to take this one over, Mr. Martinez.
I have no problem.
Resolution 212207. Excusing the absence of Board President Joseph W. Martinez from Wednesday, July 14, 2021, regular meeting of the Board of Education. Do we have a motion and a second?
I think I made the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And any abstentions? One abstain.
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Board. And F8, discussion regarding compensation and fringe benefits for governing board members. This is a discussion only, but it is in public, so everyone can hear the questions, and everything's on the up and up.
And President Martinez, we do have counsel here ready to answer any questions the board might have.
Okay. Who'd like to start the discussion? Shall we go just down the voting order, Ms. Walker?
So I think the questions are, we experienced a reduction in our stipends a few years ago when the enrollment of our district went down. And so we're trying to figure out just whether or not we can actually have either additional, we can have the stipends raised back up, or.
Could you do it
what
into the
other-
microphone, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Raised back up, or what are the other implications to make sure that we have some other compensation or, for the time that we're serving on the board? And that could be in any kind of form.
Sure. Thank you very much. My name is Darren Kamea. I'm a partner at the law firm of Lozano Smith, and I want to thank Dr. Avila, the board, for having me here. As far as that question goes, the level of compensation is based upon the ADA of the prior year for the district. So if your ADA goes down, then you may go down a tier in terms of what's set forth in the Ed Code. However, the board is authorized on an annual basis to increase its board member stipend by up to 5%, and that would be at whatever tier you're at. So if your ADA does increase again above $225,000 or more, then you would be eligible for the higher level stipend, and you, on an annual basis, could also increase by board vote and resolution.
So, the other question on that piece, so the annual, the amount that we can have the increase annually, can you do it retroactively? Because we have not had a raise in, what, at least 4 years? I think we went down about 4 years ago. Can you do that, the 5% retroactively as well?
So the answer to that question is very likely no. The statute does not provide for a retroactive increase, and there is a question about whether that would be a gift of public funds.
I know we had some other questions. I don't want to have to ask them all.
Okay. No, whenever you're ready.
You're doing fine, you're doing
Really?
fine, you're
Yeah.
doing fine.
So some of the other questions, and please, you guys jump in if I've missed any of the other ones, were also around any other opportunities for benefits for the board members. So whether it's a travel stipend, a gas stipend, or any of these other types of opportunities to support the work and support for the board members.
That's a very good question, and board members in school districts across the state ask those same questions. The statutes are very specific with respect to what is authorized for reimbursement, and we have certain conferences that are provided for, as well as mileage reimbursement. But as far as other types of stipends, such as cell phones, et cetera, that's not expressly authorized by the statute, and the scheme of reimbursement is so specific that while we have what's called the permissive ed code that allows you generally to do things if it's not prohibited, this section of the law is so specific that it would somewhat render the specific provisions meaningless if we could do anything in addition to that. So in terms of the reimbursements, well, let me kind of outline what we have. We have the compensation piece, which is your stipend, and that can be increased. Unfortunately, many boards don't annually think about that, and so it's hard to catch up, except for when 5% exceeds the cost of living or inflation in certain years, so that you can increase that year after year. After that, you have your mileage reimbursements, and you're able to get health and welfare benefits equivalent to what the best plan would be that's offered to existing employees on the same schedule, essentially. And retirees do have an option to buy into those benefits as well.
Ms. O'Kelly, you're next.
Yes, we don't get mileage. We do if we go to a conference, like in San Diego or someplace. But I put a lot of miles on my car just hiking up and down Rialto, visiting schools and going to events and whatever. I don't get a penny for that. So I don't even know how these rules came up, but they're kind of absurd. 25,000 kids is still a big district. When you have districts that have like 5,000 kids. Now that's a big difference, and there should be a big difference in what the stipend is. But we're kind of in that middle ground, and yes, we have not, we've been playing with this question for years and haven't really gotten any definitive answers. And who are the people you complain to about the number 25,000?
The legislators representing your district. Yeah. But CSBA, if I might add, CSBA can also advocate on behalf of your board and other boards across the state, and they do have influence over that issue. Yeah.
So I was interested in knowing what are all the tier levels, and is there a COVID-19 ADA clause that maybe went into effect?
There is no COVID ADA clause, and so right now I believe you're somewhat held harmless with respect to your ADA from at least the prior year or two, and so hopefully this year you'll have stabilized ADA, and next year would count this year's ADA as far as that amount goes. I'm looking up your board policy on this on my phone, and let me just pull up the statute instead. Okay, so your highest tier is over 400,000 ADA, and that's $2,000 per month. Next tier is over 60,000, that's $1,500 a month. Then you have above 25,000, that's $750 a month. Then you have between 10,000 and 24,999, and that's $400 per month. Then you have less than 10,000, but more than 1,000, that's 240. And then you have two more categories, basically 150 through 1,000 at $120 a month, and then less than 150 ADA at $60 per month.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And those, I'm sorry, and those were, from when were those,
It's Ed
approved?
Code Section 35120, and that was last amended in 2019.
Okay.
Yes.
How do the large districts get away with six-figure salaries as school board members?
Right, so we do have one example of a very different scheme, and that's for LAUSD. And LAUSD in the Ed Code has many provisions that actually don't say the district's name, but they basically only apply to LAUSD. And LAUSD is within a charter city. Los Angeles is a city with a charter versus what's called a general law city. And in that particular charter, there is a provision that allows for a city committee or commission to set the compensation levels for members of the school board, which used to be, in my understanding, a lot closer, more closely tied to the city government. And that's how that evolved. So I don't recall exactly when, but a few years ago, you did have that city commission increase the compensation for LAUSD school board members to essentially either a part-time or full-time salary, which is very different than every other school district.
Well,
in the
San
state.
Francisco does it.
Well, okay. San
Any of the
Francisco as
big
well.
cities do it.
I'm not sure if Sac City does or San Diego, but I do agree that you have different treatment for those districts.
So,
And if you wanted to have that type of treatment, you would need to be in a situation which you're probably not with the city of Rialto and with ADA that's at a different level.
yeah. So just for clarification, school board members in Rialto currently get a stipend of $400 a month, which is $200 for each meeting, 2 meetings a month, plus medical benefits that are afforded to staff members, which in reality equates to, Mr. Harris, what would you equate the cost of medical benefits for the average employee in RUSD that are afforded to school board members? Just a rough estimate.
Thank you, Ms. Martez. For medical, dental, vision, and life in altogether, approximately 14,000 annually.
So what does that equate to a month?
A little less than 1,200.
Okay. So just for clarifications for the community, school board members are being stipend, the $400 a month stipend, plus the medical benefits that are afforded to employees in the district, which equates to about $1,200 a month, you said? Which to some people seems like it's a very, it's a very decent, fair stipend and how would I say, benefits for school board members. But there are also people who might say, hey, well, what school board members do, the work involved in being a school board member, the stress involved in being a school board member, it just kind of doesn't really add up to the pay or whatnot. But again, this is an elected job, and it's a 4-year term. I just personally want to say, just because there might be people who want to know what our position is on these types of discussions. I think there's nothing wrong with raising it up a little bit. I think the last information we received was we're allowed to a 5% increase,
That would be $20, Edgar.
which, yeah, which really doesn't, I don't even think it's that, which really doesn't equate to a whole lot per year. But these discussions, we want to be transparent, and we appreciate you coming down here today. And we want to have these discussions in public. Not only do we have to, but we want to. Luckily, some of us are already retired, or, and those of us who ain't lucky enough to be retired yet, we're still working. And we don't, we don't base our livelihood on what we earn here, but we do our jobs proudly, and we do our jobs as best as possible, regardless of what benefits or pay is involved. But again, we do want to know what are the options, and 5% increase on $400 a month, to me, doesn't seem like a bad deal. I mean, maybe some would prefer more.
That's $240 a year.
But are there any other options aside from the 5% annual increase?
Currently,
Besides the ADA going up or down?
Right. Currently, there are not. Let me mention one other thing, because in part, I want to make sure that you get the most use of my time here while I'm available for questions. I know there was a question raised about whether or not a board member who, and many of you may be currently employed and get health benefits from your current employer, whether you could receive cash in lieu. And I wanted to let you know, without having to come back to another meeting, that that is not permissible. Unfortunately for you folks, that would be viewed as additional compensation or remuneration, which is limited by the statute. Yes.
Don't get me wrong, we're all sitting here because we love what we do, and we love I in particular love this district since I've spent my whole adult life here. But we don't want to be taken advantage of either, to be honest. And when you read about these cities and whatever, and people getting huge amounts of money doing the same thing we're doing, and we're just like at 24,000 some odd kids. We're just below the mark. So it really rubs me the wrong way.
That $750 a month wasn't too bad, huh?
Yeah, $750 was better.
I have
Well, yes.
Go ahead.
That was about $35 a month if we, at 5%.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think the public should know, especially when you're working, that the board members who have jobs or outside, that we want to come to a lot of the events, and they're usually during work hours, or you have to come in later to a board meeting to go for your schedule, because 400 is not a living.
Right.
So I think there was awareness that you had this vast amount of money that you were earning, and you can get off your job. And we all make that commitment to change our schedule, to be present, to support, to review, and to try to attend. So this information is very helpful. It's helpful for people who are planning to run for elective office. When I was running, I couldn't find a detail of what, and you guys didn't tell me nothing.
We don't want to scare you and run you off.
But I think it's good that this is transparent, and you have awareness and about the future and the responsibility, and we're committed. But we're doing these big budgets, and I think the translation service or $150 an hour. We can be 10 hours and things like that. So I'm glad that you invited him, and that we're discussing this in the open, so everyone will know the commitment that each of us have to this position.
Now, just to kind of tie it all up, had I started with 5% in let's say 2010, make it nice and easy over a decade, the $35 a month would have been $350 plus another $70, $420 a year. So $420 a year plus $420 another year, it adds up.
Right.
It's cumulative. So had I done it then,
Well,
till,
thank you. It's never too late. Thank you for doing it now.
Well,
you know,
Stay
as
on
long
it's,
as it would
stay
take,
on
some
another
of us are just gonna be dead.
Yeah.
yeah.
Before it ever gets up to any amount.
I thought there was zero pay, zero anything.
Yeah.
So, you know, I did it just give back, just to serve the community. And that's why we stay. It's, but I agree with Ms. O'Kelly. I look online, and this is for the public, just, in 2019, the city of Rialto, the lowest that I saw was 19,000 a year. This was on the web, so it's changed since then. I don't know. I'm not called to city government, I'm called to school governance, and I love it. But I must admit, you look at LA City, or they've got 600,000 students in ADA. We've got under 25,000. So that's quite a difference. And we could go through the gyrations and
we
everything.
get 400 and they get 150 to 200,000 apiece.
Well, 400, you're a math whiz, so we get 400. So for 25,000 students, 1, 2, 3, 4 times 6, 24 times 400. You know, that LA makes substantially more. They have substantially more students, and we're close if you look at the numbers. I'm not that good off the bat without my calculator. I think my buddy here is going for it.
Can you buy into the pension plan? And so in case of taking your stipend, can you participate? And
The statutes do not specify that, so I'd have to double check, but I do not believe that's allowed.
well, let's check.
Okay.
Well, when it comes to school matters, remember, it's all about the kids. And
Yes.
that's how a lot of this, you see city council does quite well here in Rialto. They don't get just some little token stipend, they get a lot more. But it has to do with the idea that it's taking money away from the kids.
Yeah.
One thing to keep,
Not that anybody wants to do that, but we would like to be able to eat.
one thing to keep in mind is that for those who either would like to stay on the board for many more years or affect the compensation for future boards, an annual increase of 5% would be compounded, so that will eventually increase quite a bit.
So if we were to put it on the agenda and vote on it at a later agenda time, we would increase it 5%, and we could do that for every board member in the future, if you chose to.
I think that'll be.
I mean, at the rate, at the current stipend, I think it'd be many, many years before it actually be, you know, it actually bother anybody. But yeah, it's never too late. And
Well, let's get it on the next agenda, Martha.
we need to also, you know, we need to also look out for the future board members who one day want to run and get on here and, you know, get a decent stipend.
Yeah, having been a CSEA president, depending on the year, depending on the season, if you will, 5% means 5% to a member as well. So they look at that and they think, well, I'm making X amount. Could be the teachers too, but I was a CSEA president. That's where I'm referring to. They look at it and they go, well, the board's going to give themselves 5%. Well, that's $20.
Right.
And if everyone was, you know, making $20 more, you could have it. That's eaten up in taxes. So I'm done, board. How about you?
I have one more question.
Sure.
Just in reference to, you talked about the mileage. Is that because part of this is about the travel that we do to meetings and events and so on and so forth. We are able to claim the travel between those things, or is it only related to the conferences, to attending a formalized conference, state conference or something like that? Or is it around supporting the work and events of the district?
It would be for performing your services as a board member in the district or anywhere else.
So that would encompass us being at president, when we're
Right.
wherever.
Right, and I would, I want to let you know also that any kind of stipend in lieu of receipts is not favored, and that would likely be viewed as remuneration as well. So it'd have to be actual reimbursement for actual expenses.
That's why I
Same
always
process.
take it off my taxes.
Right. Well, the same process we use anyway with our travel. Same mileage
Mm-hmm. Yes,
process.
same thing.
So the other thing is, I know we already had a recommendation that we put it on the board, on the agenda for our next board meeting. The other thing is I would just charge our board members and our fellow peers across the area that when we go to CSBA, you know, to our meetings, our regional meetings, as well as our state meetings, these are things that we should bring up. Because even comparable, I understand that there's tiers and, you know, everything like that, but a district with 25 students is a far cry different than a district with 10,000 students. And so, you know, having that, you know, compensation even being the same, so even if the tiers are broken up even, you know, more, because, you know, those are kind of advocacy things that we should be, as board members, be thinking about when we're at the state conference or even in our regional meetings. So I'm saying that to say, who got voted the rep this year? I know it wasn't me, but who was it? So take that to the next board. I think I'm the
it's
alternate this
Nancy.
year. Is it Nancy? Oh, it's Nancy.
Yeah.
It's Nancy. Nancy, you should be bringing this up.
the last one. I think it's Mr. Martinez,
Oh, Miss.
and I'm the alternate.
We need to find out.
Okay, right. Because that's our charge, you know, put it, having this as a board agenda, agendized for next item for the increase, but also that we do our due diligence around supporting this, you know, a change in the tiers statewide, because this is not in an equitable kind of way for that.
Hold on,
Yeah.
hold on. Do we have questions for the attorney? Other than that, let's cut his fees.
Thank you very much.
He doesn't get four.
He's like, I got some more information. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, now if you have other conversation, let's continue. Okay, we'll move on.
Literally out the door.
Okay, the only thing else that we have is adjournment. And it is with heavy heart. not-
President Martinez,
Yes.
we have 2 additional actions in closed session. 2 items.
Thank you, you're right. Okay, we have to go back into closed session. So a motion and a second to go into closed session, please.
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Walker, how do you vote?
Aye.
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 And aye. Okay, probably a half hour, and I don't think it's a big deal that anybody wants to stay around for, but you're welcome to.
Finally, we're back to my school.
Hello, everyone. I'm Cuauhtemoc Avila, Superintendent of Schools. And on behalf of our Board of Education, we'd like to share some very important information related to the opening of the new school year. But first, let's go to Eagle Nation, where Destiny Lopez will take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Avila. My name is Destiny Lopez, graduating senior of the class of 2021, and we are here to give you the ins and outs of in-person instruction. We want to give you peace of mind and make sure you guys are ready for the next year.
The Rialto Unified School District is excited to open its doors for traditional school in fall 2021. Our USD staff have been working diligently to make the transition to our fall 2021 school reopening as safe and simple as possible. We can't wait to welcome you back. As our state reaches over 20 million vaccines administered, California has moved to fully reopening our economy. Recently, the California Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the California Department of Public Health issued updated COVID-19 public health guidance for K-12 schools. According to the guidelines, students benefit from in-person learning. Safely returning to in-person instruction in the fall of 2021 is a state priority. Rialto Unified School District will be following the recently released guidelines and updating our policies and procedures as we hear more from the departments. Rialto Unified School District will return to school in a traditional learning setting, which will be a safe, in-person learning environment as we transition out of the COVID-19 pandemic. In-person learning will be possible by employing safety protocols like distancing, frequent hand washing, and wearing of face coverings. With this model, teachers have the opportunity to see their students in person and will provide quality instruction that ensures each student achieves personal and career fulfillment. Teachers will report to work Monday through Friday, and students receive live instruction with teachers daily. At Rialto Unified School District, safety is our top priority, and as we begin the process of reopening schools, we have prepared extra precautions and cleaning protocols to protect our students, staff, and families. All public-facing front offices across all of our schools and facilities have newly installed physical barriers, temperature check machines, and mobile hand washing or sanitizing stations. Elementary school classrooms will be provided plexiglass on individual student desks. Custodians will disinfect plexiglass daily based on the new COVID cleaning schedule. Classroom staff may request plexiglass for their individual desk. Large temperature kiosks, which are capable of scanning 2,500 to 5,000 individuals in 30 minutes, have been installed in secondary school campuses. Smaller temperature kiosks, which are capable of scanning 300 to 500 individuals in 30 minutes, have been installed in our elementary schools and high-traffic facilities. Additionally, no-touch thermometers have been provided for all schools and facilities for using in smaller groups. Markings to help display social distancing measures and routes designated for entry and exits have been placed in high-traffic areas in order to limit direct contact with others. Disposable masks and hand sanitizer will be available for students and staff. Postering reminding students and staff to remain socially distanced and to frequently hand wash to prevent germs from spreading have been placed around school campuses. Daily, high-touch surface cleaning will take place to increase precaution from any germ spread or possible outbreaks. Surfaces like desks, chairs, rails, restrooms, and doors will be routinely cleaned for added safety. The purchase of new tools to help fight COVID-19 with state-of-the-art cleaning devices like electrostatic sprayers that will envelop the virus with cleaning solution will assist in sanitizing classrooms, playgrounds, and hard-to-reach places. Hospital-grade antimicrobial air filters and air supply have been modified to increase the amount of outside air to the highest extent needed. With all the extra added precautions and protocols in place, we aim to minimize risk to our students, staff, and families, thus being able to achieve a safe return to in-person school. As we prepare to welcome back our students for school in the fall, there are a few important procedures you should know. First, it is important to self-screen your child at home every morning for COVID-19 symptoms. If your child is experiencing any symptoms, it is critical that they stay home. Be sure to remind your child to bring their face coverings to school, as they are required to wear one on campus while indoors and in large gatherings in outside settings. A reusable mask will be provided to your child on their first day of school. Additional disposable masks will be available as needed. Masks are not required at recess, passing periods, or in most other outdoor situations. However, masks will be required in a crowd for an extended period of time, such as in the stands at a football game. Be sure to review your child's daily schedule and pick up and drop off your child on time. Students and parents will be encouraged to social distance before or after school. For those arriving to campus in a vehicle, please remain in the vehicle when dropping off or picking up. For those that walk to school, we ask that you do not gather and remain socially distanced. Students will have their temperature checked as they enter the district bus or walk onto campus. If your child is a bus rider, please remain at the bus stop until your child's temperature has been taken. Any student at the school site with a fever or COVID symptoms will be taken to a waiting room and socially distanced from others. Parents will be contacted and required to pick them up from school immediately. While students will be participating in a traditional school setting, some systems, procedures, and events such as assemblies, recesses, and lunchtime may have to remain adjusted to be compliant with public health guidelines. Although we are excited to welcome back our students in an in-person setting, we understand that in-person learning might not be for everyone. RUSD has a K-12 independent study program as an alternative to in-person learning that will be offered to students whose health would be put at risk by in-person instruction as determined by the parent or guardian. The program requires students to change schools while participating in the program. But independent study students will be able to return to in-person instruction at any time during the 2021-2022 school year. If you are interested in enrolling your student in the independent study program, please contact your school's principal or administrator and they will assist you with the referral process. Independent study will be offered at the following locations: we look forward to seeing our students on Monday, August 9th. We've missed their smiling faces and the joy they bring to our schools. Together, we will bridge futures safely. For additional information on site-specific reopening policies and procedures, please check out our website at www.rialto.k12.ca.us or call your child's school site.
Okay, here we are back out of closed session. Board motion and a second to adjourn
So
closed
moved.
session.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Ms. O'Kelly is aye, obviously. Clerk Lewis?
Aye.
Vice President Montez?
Aye.
And myself, aye, and that is at 9:30. Okay, report out of closed session. Dr. Avila?
Yes, thank you, President Martinez. The Board of Education took action to approve an agreement settling San Bernardino Superior Court case number CIBDS 1824568 in exchange for a release of all claims. The roll call vote was unanimous.
Thank you, Dr. Avila. And for the record, that wasn't worth the extra $20 either. So.
Right.
Okay. We are ready to call adjournment here. Let me get to that part. Okay, the next regular meeting of the Board of Education of the Rialto Unified School District will be held on Wednesday, August 25th, 2021 at 7 p.m. right here at the Dr. John Casalunas Education Center, 182 East Walnut Avenue, Rialto, California. Materials distributed or presented to the Board of Education. The board meetings are available upon request from the Superintendent's office. Tonight we are adjourning with sad news, sad for many that knew him. Tonight we will end our school board in honor of Mr. Arthur Bertrand C.U.S.S.A.N. Jr. Cassan, also known as Mr. Bert Cassan. Mr. Cassan was a former longtime counselor at Eisenhower High School. He passed at the age of 86 on August 1st, 2021, in the city of Claremont. Mr. Cassan was born in Portales, New Mexico in 1935. In 1963, Mr. Cassan began an illustrious career in the RUSD when he accepted the position of business teacher at Eisenhower High School. 1 year later, in 1964, the veteran educator transitioned into the field of counseling at Ike. High school counselor was a position that Mr. Cassan proudly held for 28 years on the Eagles campus. Until his retirement in 2003, Mr. Cassan will always be remembered as a vibrant, knowledgeable, and compassionate educator in the RUSD who cared deeply about his students. Our sympathy to Mr. Cassan's family as they prepare for his celebration of life. Please join me for a moment of silence. Thank you, everyone. And we now entertain a motion and a second for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And vote by board members all at once?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Time 9:33.